there's always that question on whether or not it's like a sexual thing.
What's the appeal? Like, what is the reason that people do this?
I can say from a more personal standpoint, I really enjoy being a character. I love character acting. When I was a kid, I would see mascots like Mickey Mouse and everything like that, and like sports mascots. And I loved how happy they made crowds of people. Like it, just seeing them, just express themselves and have fun, it makes everybody around them really happy. So I found a lot of joy personally in wearing a costume and bringing smiles to people. Because it's fun, I think that's like one of the most satisfying parts about it. Plus, being able to express who you are on the inside and having people appreciate that. Like some people are so scared to, some people are shy, and I have my shy tendencies as well. But when I get in costume, it's like I'm this person that I really want to be. I am much more confident and comfortable and so much more of myself at my core. And it feels nice to have people appreciate that. Like you don't have to pretend to be anything else if you don't want to. And people will accept you for you. And I think that's a really wonderful thing to have.
Is it a sexual thing? Is it a lifestyle thing? Is it both? Like, where would you kind of categorize this?
For some people, I mean, like there's always that question on whether or not it's like a sexual thing. And I think when you really delve into it, it's whenever there's going to be adults in a space for something, and this can be any community, any fandom, there will always be adult aspects, and I've always had like the principal belief of like if you're a consenting adult and you're not hurting anybody or yourself, I don't really care what you're into. And yeah, most of the time that's just that. If people want to delve into a sexual aspect of it, they're free to. Um, and if they want to keep it more safe for work, more, not sexual, that's perfectly fine too. And I think that being able to explore whatever side is kind of a nice thing to have when, the furry space is actually, it's a pretty queer space, LGBT plus safe. And for people to be able to explore parts of themselves in that space, it's a really safe space.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, but you're okay. It's a fursona, right? Is that
Yes,
okay?
yes,
So explain to me kind of what, like, I get it, but I don't know if that makes any
yeah.
sense.
So persona is basically a persona. So it's like your main character. It's you as a character. So for me, my character is Lolo. They're a fennec, so fox with gigantic ears and stuff like that. And it's just like a visual representation of me, I guess, outside of just like my human looking, because the big part of the fandom is um, loving walking, talking animals, kind of like Bugs Bunny cartoons and stuff like that.
Now, why did you choose that one?
I've always really loved foxes. I think they're fantastic little creatures. I specifically chose a fennec fox though, because they're super tiny. I don't know if you've ever seen one. They're like 3 pounds. They're like this big, but they got gigantic ears. So they're really good listeners, naturally. They have crazy amounts of energy, and it makes them really silly funny. Um, and I felt like that was a good match for my personality because at times I can have lots of energetic bursts. I can be a good listener. Um, and I'm on the smaller side, so like I'm 5'3", so everybody else is taller than me. And yeah, I felt like that was a good fit.
Like when you go to a convention, do people fit into certain types? Like this person is a dog, they must be like this. This person is a cat, they must be like this. Like, are there archetypes that people fit into?
I guess kind of sometimes in like really cute, funny ways. Like there are people who have dog characters who have very dog-like personalities who, are very playful and silly and fun. People who, like cats. Like I have cat suits and like characters that are cats. And, that's the side of me that's like, oh, I just want to be lazy and lay around. I don't want to do anything. Um, Stuff like that can happen sometimes, but it's not always the case. And that's just because like sometimes we have this connection to like a certain species or animal, but I think sometimes it could be, how they look. Sometimes some people like for me, I love gigantic ears on Fennecs or animals with big ears because I think that's adorable. I don't always match the archetypes for them, but that doesn't matter. I think just choosing something that you feel represents you um, is the main part of it.
Now, what kind of cost are we talking?
These can range. My prices are they're in a process right now because I'm working through my queue, and when I'm done, my prices are going to be raised. But for if you're looking into a suit, it can really vary. You can find people who make, let's just take a head, for example. Some people will make a head under $1,000. Some people, you can find people that will make them for like 800 maybe, or even less if they're a beginning maker. For people who are professionals, as I call myself, I'm a professional fursuit maker. A head for me is like 2,400 right now. There are people who you can charge more for heads based on how long they've been in the fandom and the demand that they have. For a full costume, sometimes that can range somewhere, and again, it depends on what you want, but it can range from somewhere like, let's say, 3,000 to I've seen auctions go for like 10,000 before. It really depends on who you're going through. And like I said, the demand is a huge part.